Welcome back, everybody. Today let's take a look at roughly the time and cost it will cost you to boost your character basically from level 14 to 60. So this is not for everybody. I personally did this on my rogue while I'm in the background creating videos and editing stuff, so it just made it easier to level up a secondary alt. You're not going to do this for obviously your main character because it is quite costly, especially once you get up to the higher levels. The beginning level's not too bad, but the higher you climb, it becomes much more cost intensive. So I'm going to break down, I recorded and wrote down my entire journey as I was going through it and roughly how much I was paying. Now, granted, I only did it up to about 55, 56, knowing that I'm going to have to run strat, live, dead, Skull of Mance, lower Blackrock Spire, upper Blackrock Spire. I knew I was going to have to run those 2-3 times each to be able to get the gear I was after for my pre-raid best in slot. So there was kind of no point for me to do it the whole way to 60 because I knew I was going to have to go in there anyways and organically level, which, secret, that saved me about 1,000 gold. That is the most expensive part of the whole grind, is like 55 to 60. Very, very expensive. But let's go over from the beginning. I'm just talking about the prices I paid on my server, Dream Scythe, along with, you can get better deals. So first off, you can get better deals sometimes if you talk to the person, hey, what if I buy 20 runs in one shot? Or 10 in one shot. If you're only buying one at a piece, then you're going to hit the pay a little bit more. And then I'm giving averages on the overall XP. So when you first get in there, so say, when you get in there at level 14 for SFK, you're going to get a lot less XP compared to when you're level 20. But then it also goes on to the flip side, where if you're too high of level, you won't be able to get enough XP to make it worth it. And then you'll actually start deteriorating everybody else's XP because there's multiple high-level people in the run, if that makes sense. So let's start off. SFK, Shadowfang Keep. So from level 14 to 24, it's 230,000 experience needed. Roughly about 6,500 XP per run. And I was paying about 3 gold roughly per run. It took me 36 runs total. And each run was right around 10-minute mark. And like I said, some of these might be a little faster overall, depending on how fast the booster is and everything. But it's pretty close to this. So overall, that was roughly 6 hours of time from 14 to 24. And I paid 110 gold. Now, if you found someone nice and they might let you tag along and loot, then you could drive that price down a little bit by getting a little bit of loot. Most of them are going to hard reserve any blues in there because there's some nice blues that you can get for twink items that are like 100 gold a piece. So obviously they're going to hard reserve those for them. But even the little trash stuff, you might make 20, 30 gold over that course of 14 to 24. All of this will also be down below in the description as the breakdown for each one that I did as far as that goes. From 24 to 40, I did Scarlet Monastery. Mainly it is Library, Armory, and then Reset. So it's both of those dungeons, Reset. Each run was roughly 12 minutes long. And you need 1 mil XP total overall. So roughly I was getting about 20,000 experience. So I was paying roughly 9 gold a run. Once I was able to buy 5 at a time, I basically 5 runs for 45 gold. And realistically, I was probably getting between 2 to 3 gold back from actually looting the items. So overall, I was really only paying about 7 gold as a total amount. It took 60 runs to do it in total, which was 420 gold. Now, overall time-wise, about 12 hours. From 40 to 50, you're going to do Maradone. So this one is a great boost overall. Very nice and easy. You just sit at the entrance, just like the other ones. But with the looting portion, it's even easier. Because when they kill, it's all grouped up in this little area. It makes it super clean and easy to do. Now, you need 1.4 million XP roughly to be able to level. And now you're averaging about 35,000 XP per person. It took me 29 runs total to do, and I was paying 15 gold per run, which is a lot, I know, but I was roughly getting about 5 gold back from the items I was looting. So some of these prices could vary depending on, does that booster let you actually loot the items? They're always going to reserve blue items, epic items, as far as that goes. So, roughly 10 gold I was paying after, the loot, times 29 runs, 290 gold. And this took me about 6 hours total. So overall, very quick. Just like the first set SM library, the only little part from 24 to 40 is if you can run SFK maybe a little bit longer instead of I left there at 24. Maybe if you had left at 26, 27, if possible, it would be better money wise and XP wise. I wasn't getting much XP at all when I first went in there, and it started to really ramp up towards the middle. Now from 50 to 60, this is where there's a couple different options. So you could do ZF, you could do Strat. I think it's Strat dead side. They do a couple pulls, and then you can also do Upper Blackrock Spire. So I didn't see many people offering the Upper Blackrock Spire, comparing to everybody's offering the Stratholme. So if you look at the /who and then you see a bunch of level 60 mages in Stratholme, they're probably boosting. It does take 2 mages to be able to pull it off, so it is a little bit more costly overall. But I find it super easy. The one thing I did really like about it over like Upper Blackrock Spire, one, like I said, it's easier to find groups. XP is similar. I think Strat, you actually get a little bit more XP per hour, but you pay a little bit more. But with Stratholme, you're actually getting a ton of rep. So you're getting the rep for the area, which once you get what you want to do first let me rewind. So you want to get the trinket where it allows it to drop the scourge. I think I'm saying that right. Scourge. I don't know. Who knows? I don't. So it's going to drop the little tokens that you can turn in for rep. Don't do that until you are revered with the Argent Dawn. So overall, what's nice is pretty much every run you're going to get about 300 experience of rep towards the Argent Dawn. So if you from 50 to 55, it got me to Exalted just doing it there. It got me to Revered. And then I have a ton of tokens. The amount of tokens I was able to collect got me halfway to Exalted already. And the reason you want Exalted is you get the +5 resist all enchant for the shoulders, which is best in slot for all phases as far as that goes. So it is very nice. Like I said, I only went to 55 because then I started grinding gear. But I will let you know roughly what it would cost if you did the whole way to 60. So overall, you need roughly 3 million XP. On average, you're averaging the same as you were getting out of Mara, which is about 35,000 XP per run. So both the Mara and the Stratholme runs take about 15 minutes to complete an entire run. Now Stratholme though, the big thing is it's 30 gold a run, so much more than the other runs. Now the way I was doing it, I was paying 30 gold, but then they would let me loot. So if they let me loot, I was getting about 10 gold in loot each time. Now there was times that I was only paying 20 gold and I didn't get a loot. So it ended up being the same because you're about 20 gold a run. So it's the most expensive overall, and it's the most XP to get to level 60, and it's not much more XP per hour. Like I said, you can't keep doing Mara because eventually it deteriorates everybody else's XP, so you kind of have to do something else. And ZF, they actually made it a lot more difficult to do boosting there with where you have to get to get the XP. So the people that are being boosted have to get further within the dungeon, which run a higher chance of dying, and then your XP per hour doesn't make a lot of sense. If you die one time, that messes up the whole hour. So personally, I like the Stratholme boost, like I said, especially with the Argent Dawn rep. That is amazing to actually get. So 20 gold per run. It's going to take you roughly 85 runs to be able to get the whole way from 50 to 60. So 85 runs, time-wise, 21 hours. Gold-wise, 1,700 gold. That's a lot. Now, if you were, like I said, if you were boosting from the whole way from 14, following what I just said, the whole way to 60, it's going to cost you roughly 2,500 gold in 45 hours. So hopefully this helps you. If you have a ton of gold sitting around and you got a lot of, maybe you got some homework to do on the side, and that's why you're doing the boosting instead, I highly recommend, at least learning your class overall, because you don't want to get to 60 and you have no clue about your class. So you definitely want to play some. But like someone like me, perfect example, I'm creating videos or you're doing schoolwork. Yes, this makes sense. I don't recommend it past level 55, but that's my personal opinion. You could shave 1,000 gold off by not doing it from 55 to 60. Hopefully this was helpful. Got tons more videos like this along the way. I am more than halfway there from my original goal, which is 100 videos in 100 days. I think I'm at the 66 video mark, and I ain't stopping now. Until next time, guys, game on.